What does the new kids call it? Gunner brain, porn addict. Why isn't there a word for gore addict or psycho brain? Because like for some reason, and this is like still I generally don't get it. Well, I do in a way, but when I grew up, the freak out was about violence. Like everyone was concerned about violence, and literally all the arguments against pornography were used for violence. Like what type of person, what mortal person would want to play GTA? Like why do you want to shoot police officers? Why do you want to run over strippers? Like strippers are people. Why do you, right? And it genuinely freaked individuals out. Now, if you told them, well, it's fictional, they wouldn't accept that argument. It's like, no, you're a person addicted to gore. Why are you playing these video games? You're fucked up. And the news was saying this, right? And now, not only is gore acceptable, like there is no limit. I don't think that there is anything grotesque that you can put in a video game that would get people to freak out now. I mean, it's so over the top. Like you have shows like Rick and Morty, just the most gorish thing. And they're hand-waving it. Like the critics are hand-waving it and they're saying, no, you don't understand, it's different than porn. Yeah, it's different than porn. Sure. But like, why should it be there? Why do we have it? And the reason they have it is because they like it, right? So everyone is libertarian when it comes to their vices. I enjoy, because I enjoy it too. You know, like slasher films are some of my favorite movies growing up. So I understand that it's fictional. I understand that it's there to entertain. I don't freak out about it. But they should, because like they think that every single entertainment medium needs to promote morality, right? So like, what message are you sending to young people if your entertainment is full of snuff and gore and over-the-top violence, right? Like, is this the expression of your culture? You're rejecting beauty, right? You're rejecting femininity, but at the same time, you're promoting guts and blood and gore. Again, just pick any Rick and Morty episode, right? So, like this is the image that you're crafting with your culture now. Like, beauty is taking a backseat, and in front, we're going to have over-the-top hyper-violence. And so the question is, like, why are Americans rejecting sexuality to the point where they consider even fully clothed women to be pornography? So, you know, when I grew up, again, I grew up with World of Warcraft. Like, what was that? Rated T for teens? Like, it wasn't mature, I think. Yeah, I don't think it was mature. But in that game, you know, you take a sexy night elf, you take off the armor, you do slash dance, and you move the camera to her ass, and congratulations, you just got the Last Descendant that Melanie Mac freaks over, right? So you had Tomb Raider, and there were like Tomb Raider with massive tits and dressed in a bikini, right? Now, again, Americans, I have seen it, not all obviously, but like the most puritanical, either the puritanical or the perverts, ironically. Like these are the two groups that are against sexuality now. The perverts, I mean, like people who are into furries, people who are into diapers shit. It's like, okay, those are against the feminine form, joining forces with some Puritans. And what I think is happening here is that they underwent an entire generation of trauma. I genuinely think that third wave feminism has traumatized these people into believing that the male gaze is bad and that if you're a heterosexual, you should hate yourself. I genuinely think this is the answer. And think about it, right? Like in 2014, all the way to 2016 and onwards, the schools, the TV shows, the politicians, the mainstream media, video games, people on Twitter, social media, all of them together would tell men that they're evil, that it's wrong, that the male gaze is dehumanizing, that it is oppressive. Like all of this was being packaged and constantly bombarding the public with it, to the point where, yes, they believe that seeing any type of heteronormativity is evil. And so they're fine with violence because they grew up with a culture that was demonizing violence, and they realized that, okay, no, you're wrong. Like, violence is fictional, it's fine. But at the same time, they grew up with another culture that traumatized them. So again, even things that aren't pornographic, they consider it so. And they want to ban it because it's evil, it's exploitative. Even if it's a cartoon, even if it's like a video game, like Final Fantasy, right? So like these people are now activists at big corporations. And they're telling the Japanese developers that this is the American culture. Like people are actually offended by sexuality. And if you don't censor or speak out against it, you're not going to get the high social score from the ESG. And so you have like people coming up and saying this. And the reason they're saying this shit, which again, like no other company gives a fuck about mods. I've never heard other corporations like care what people mod in their own bedroom. No one gives a fuck. But the reason they're saying it is twofold. Like number one, to generate buzz on social media, right? Like you say something absolutely stupid, and then people talk about it. Your game is trending. It's free advertisement. And the second reason is they genuinely believe that, yeah, I mean, people will applaud this. The reality is, I don't, like if you ignore the loud voices on social media, you look at the money that's being made, you look at the number of downloads that happen. No, people in general don't give a fuck. Like that, people aren't, like the overwhelming majority of people aren't perverts or Puritans. Like the overwhelming majority of people are the ones that have porn with Tifa appear in the Italian parliament. I mean, Dad's Porn magazine used to exist in people's vocabulary because it was a thing. Like heteronormative men enjoy oogling at sexy women. This was a thing, it is a thing, and it will be a thing long after I'm dead. So like the idea of trying to demonize heteronormativity is like trying to pray the gay away. You're not going to manage. It's like, oh, there's public stigma. There always was public stigma. Like every person that has a different fetish than you, like you're going to feel public stigma towards them. But some things aren't public stigma. Like for instance, looking at what was it, Tifa in the Italian parliament. Well, maybe the venue wasn't chose accurately, but people looking at Tifa, it's not something that shocks me. Like, I wasn't shocked if I heard, oh my god, I got like Tifa on my computer. Come on. And so we're getting to this point, you know, where players avoid offensive or inappropriate mods. You know what this tells me? This tells me that it may be Sony propaganda, right? Because they know they can't compete with PCs anymore. Like, literally, there's nothing that Sony offers you that a PC doesn't. But on top of that, you can actually have mods on a PC. And so they're upset. It's like, look, we know that we're making our product shit on purpose. Because again, they have advisors that tell them, make the breast smaller, make the female characters more masculine, like all of that. Because it's a Japanese company, it's not at the level of Concord yet, but it's trying to get there. And so people are just modding the game, right? And this pisses them off, because if mods become normalized, it's more difficult for them to sell skins. It's more difficult for them to sell loot boxes, right? So what they're trying to do here is they're trying to get the Puritans and perverts on their side in order to shame people from using mods and to pressure probably Nexus mods to ban these things, right? Because now you can have Nexus mods come up. It's like, oh, we respect the wishes of the developer. You know, I can see that happening. And I'm on like a 60% chance I'm giving it to happen. We respect the wishes of the developer, and we will not allow lewd mods and blah, blah, blah. The problem is that Nexus mods are fucking around, and they're going to find out soon. You can't just start canceling all these mods without consequences. Like, eventually, you are going to have competitors. The reason Nexus mods is popular is because that's where all the action is. Like, modding costs money, so people that invest money into mods, they want a revenue stream on Patreon, and so they're going to put their mods into the most popular place where people can see it. But if you're going to start banning them, when you ban a creator, he also takes some of his community with him. And if you keep doing this long enough, and you keep like watering down the definition of what is and isn't allowed, then eventually you're going to end up in a situation where everyone has gone to a different website, and now you have a competitor. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.